Welcome everyone, this is Tactical Lich here, and today we have a replay sent in by Coops featuring the Bretonnians and Cool Umbrella playing the High Elves. Now, in this replay, there's something special. If you've watched me play Bretonnia before, you know how much I love Lady Repanse. She is surprisingly tanky as a hero and possesses some potent killing power. And Coops is going all out on the non-meta picks today. Not only do we have Repanse on horseback herself, but also a Green Knight, the legendary Bretonnian hero, although rather underpowered in the meta and relatively less used. So with these non-meta picks for the Bretonnian army, Coops is spraying a very infantry heavy build with a lot of peasant mobs, battle pilgrims, and some spearmen at arms with shields. Now on the flanks we have some Knights of the Realm and the Questing Knights. While in the bushes accompanying Green Knight and Repanse de Lyonnaise, we have a Knight Errant as well as the Companions of Canal protecting the hero squad. Also we have a Damsel of Life with Earth Blood and Regrowth to provide that healing support. Now for the High Elf army, Cool Umbrella is bringing a rather non-meta pick as well, with Eltharion riding on top of his black and white hippogriff, and also a Star Dragon. The rest of the High Elf build is rather numerous with a lot of spears and Louen Sea God, no doubt trying to hold back the peasant army with a staunch line of spears. We also have a single Arcane Phoenix in the skies, and that's basically it for the army builds. Let's get the battle rolling, and see what the non-meta duo of the Bretonnian army is capable of. Now Coops' army is rather unorthodox, as he not only picked the non-meta hero squads, but also he did not bring a single archer. Peasant bowmen are extremely effective against high elf archers and their lightly armored infantry, as they are extremely cheap and their missile firepower will be doing significant damage to stuff, say, Louen Sea Gods as well as archers, but this time without the missile fire presence, they will be needing to relying on that battle pilgrims to push through, slowly grind through the staunch line of spears, and with the martial prowess active, it will be a rather tough task. On this flank with the High Elf Flying Goon Squad, we have the Arcane Phoenix and also the Dragon dropping down, terrifying these poor peasant mobs away, quickly pulling out from combat as well, preventing themselves from being charged and bogged down in combat by the anti-large Knights of the Realm and the armor-piercing Questing Knights. But once they regain the air superiority, they will drop down again. And now going for the sweet charge bonus, munching on top of these knights, Questing Knights will be charging in, hoping to bog down the dragons in combat, but the counter attack from the single entities, especially with the armor piercing weapon strength, basically eats these brave Questing Knights alive. Down to half health in a single charge from the single entities, Stormwing, Star Dragon, and the Arcane Phoenix, Questing Knights might be elite, but they are no match for 3 giant monsters. To avenge their fallen brother in arms, the Bretonnian hero squads are going for a flank overload. They are now leading the Knights Errant and the Companions charging into the Spearmen, and also subsequently the Louen Sea God, using the impact damage to slowly mow down all these Louen Sea God, terrifying the Spearmen away, with the Green Knight providing that terror effect that Bretonnians usually lack. However, this flank is truly lost, as both the Questing Knights and the Knights of the Realm are being routed, only doing some minor counter-punching damage to Eltharion the Grim, nothing that the High Elf caster cannot heal up. So already the Bretonnians suffers quite a bit of a loss in terms of HP and value, as they lost a significant portion of their cavalry. The Companions are still very healthy though, so they will be constantly fighting, charging down the spears, while the Knights Errant taking some anti-large damage from the Louen Sea God and the Louen Sea God firepower. They will be routed by a terrifying charge from the Star Dragon and Arcane Phoenix, actually shattering on impact. However, the loss of some mid-tier cavalry does not deter the hero squads. Repanse and the Green Knight are still fighting valiantly, both of them completely healthy. While the battle pilgrims have managed to push through all these front line of the spears and getting onto some Louen Sea God, a really good trade for these fanatic soldiers of the Lady, with Frenzy buffing up their damage dealing capacity. Eltharion the Grim trying to go drop a Soul Quench onto the Green Knight, but missing there, a swing and a miss, and while Repanse de Lyonnaise surrounding the Arcane Phoenix with the Companions, some peasants trying to hunt down the Arcane Phoenix, but unfortunately it was able to push through and fly off into the skies again. An extended Earth Blood is cast onto the blob, healing both Repanse and the Companions, right before the life caster being pushed off by Eltharion from the engagement, disabling the Bretonnian spellcasting powers for now. At the back, Green Knight is being tied down by some spears, but with the physical resistance, he will be fine. Dolores Blade, providing the attack buff, will be doing some good damage. And in the front line, the Star Dragon is in a terrible engagement against some anti-large cavalry. As the Companions of Cornell is bogging it down in combat with its rather low mass for a monster, Star Dragon is unable to pull through, and it will be cut down by both Repanse and the Green Knight in this melee combat. Spearman rushing in to support, while the Arcane Phoenix dropping a juicy Firestorm into the middle of the Battle Pilgrims, and the Spearman at Arms doing some nice damage. While at the back, Louen Seaguard firing, but one unit is being cleaned up by the Battle Pilgrims. While in the front, more peasants are running away. The Damsel of Life recovering from that route and now returning to combat, probably will drop some more heals, and the Green Knight being worked down by the Arcane Phoenix magic attacks, as his ethereal physical resistance means nothing in the face of the Arcane Phoenix magic attacks. Eltharion the Grim taking some decent damage from Repanse de Lyonnaise, especially with the Sword of Lyonnaise buffing up her attack and damage, and Eltharion is routing as every swing of Repanse's sword is cleaving a massive wound on Stormclaw's body. And Repanse, being a decently fast hero with 75 speed, was able to keep up with the routing Eltharion, continuously shanking Stormclaw in the back, making sure Stormwing pay for whatever he did to the Bretonnian knight earlier. Though right now the damsel is unprotected. Dragon will be dropping down, trying to hunt her down once more, but the damsel, being swift on her steed, will be able to quickly run off, although taking a few big hits in the process. As for the front line, the spears are pretty much gone, being blended away by all these Battle Pilgrims, who are now cutting through the last of the spears, along with some help with the Spearmen at Arms. Some extra Battle Pilgrims are pushing for the rest of Louen Seaguard, hoping to hunt them down in melee combat, while the Green Knight here is chasing off the Star Dragon. Using that melee attack, armor piercing and magical, he was able to cut down the Star Dragon to the last few hundred points of his health. However, a great threat is incoming. The Arcane Phoenix is hot in pursuit, threatening the Green Knight with his magic attack, but Repanse charging in, dealing a final blow to the Star Dragon, successfully routing the mighty beast with the halo of Maidenly Wrath, lowering the melee stats of her opponents. Even a powerful melee entity like the Star Dragon suffered a massive melee defense stat decrease, consequently eating a few massive blows from Repanse's charge. Of course, the Star Dragon is still alive, so that means if it successfully recovers the leadership and get heals from Eltharion, it may rejoin the fight once more. As for the other powerful monster, the Arcane Phoenix now returning to combat yet again, trying to thin out all these peasant blobs, while the Star Dragon has recovered from the rout and will be returning, actually receiving an apotheosis, but unfortunately that is not enough. It will be routed and shattered due to its low HP. A very big loss for the High Elves there, as the Star Dragon still has some fight left in it, with quite a bit distant from the heal cap. So without any other choice, Eltharion has to return, and hoping to use the remaining magic to heal himself back up and cycle charge down the single entities as well as the peasant mobs instead. Now, there are some Louen Seaguard still firing into the fray, especially against the lightly armored spears and Battle Pilgrims. Their missiles will be very valuable. Although some last of the Louen Seaguard with some ammo remaining is stuck on combat against the Battle Pilgrims, the basic shield wall of these hybrid infantry is no match for the devoted worshippers of the Lady. With every dead Louen Seaguard, they are also dying with the ammo, losing out more on balance of power. At the back, we have Eltharion trying to eliminate the remaining companions of Cornell. But these elite questing knights have no fear. They are literally fighting down to the last man. Only 3 models left, but still fighting, inspired by the peasant lady Repanse. They're using their mass to pin in Eltharion, preventing him from escape, allowing Repanse and the Green Knight to catch up, driving their swords into the back of Stormwing. And now Repanse is once again catching up with the fleeing Eltharion. The Sword of Lyonnaise cuts, and it cuts deep, taking huge chunks of HP from Eltharion. Yes, he probably can heal it up, but there's a limit to his healing. Even with the 40% physical resistance, the damage buff from Repanse's sword is just too much, and he'll be routed off yet again. Now back to the front line, we have some peasants being terrified by the presence of Arcane Phoenix, but not before most of the spears are cleaned up by the Battle Pilgrims. And the leadership of Repanse and the Green Knight is more important than ever, so they will be returning to support the fight in the middle. At least they still have some very healthy Battle Pilgrims for company. Now the Arcane Phoenix might be a bit tricky for the Bretonnians to deal with, as the magic attack is a huge threat to Green Knight, while it also have the physical resistance and ward save to tank out the damage from Repanse. Still, the Arcane Phoenix does not have good enough melee stats to penetrate the 67 defense on Repanse, even on a horse. That's partly because of the third delay banner, providing that extra 10 melee attack and melee defense. Combined with other stat modifiers like her blinding explosion, Repanse can easily do some massive burst damage on the Rainbow Chicken. Now there are some Louen Seaguard running out of ammo, supporting the fight of the Spearmen against more peasant spears, and the Green Knight cutting through some regular spears, and the Battle Pilgrims are fighting through this regular High Elf spears, as it's just a lot of spears in this battle. Now at the back, the last few Battle Pilgrims are finished off by the Arcane Phoenix, freeing up some of the remaining Louen Seaguard to fire their bows again. But is that enough? Let's see, as the balance of power is now in favor of the Bretonnians, as the High Elf powerhouse Eltharion and the Arcane Phoenix are rather low in terms of health. With the Arcane Phoenix diving in, Repanse responded with a blinding explosion. The threat of a melee stat debuff was able to scare the pigeon away. That left the Spearmen into the mercy of the Battle Pilgrims, the Green Knight, and Repanse. But as the Battle Pilgrims blopped up, the Arcane Phoenix comes back with revenge as it drops a beautiful Flamestorm, doing some significant damage, cleaning up the remaining infantry support of the Bretonnians, as they are now only having some of the Spearmen at arms remaining. One last regrowth was cast on to Repanse, not only topping up her HP, but most importantly, refreshing her vigor. Now she is all active again, and now she will be fighting in perfect condition. Her melee stats and armor no longer affected by any vigor losses, ready to face down Eltharion and the Arcane Phoenix once more without any more infantry support from the peasants. Now with both armies trying to regroup on different ends of the battlefield, let us go into fast forward. The single entities from the High Elves are coming back, but retreating again as the remaining Louen Seaguard in the bushes are routed off by Repanse, by the Green Knight, and also some remaining Battle Pilgrims. They do have some Louen Seaguard supporting though. If they are able to pin down the Bretonnian single entities in melee combat, their flyers can cycle charge the Bretonnians heroes to death. But that is not exactly easy. Some Louen Seaguard return from routing, firing into Repanse and the Green Knight, but their missile fire will not be quite enough. Repanse does have 110 armor, mitigating a lot of that arrow damage. On the other side, these Louen Seaguard pushing through, being tied down by the Battle Pilgrims. There are more Battle Pilgrims returning to combat as well. But is that enough? We will see. As the Eltharion the Grim and Arcane Phoenix dropping down, hoping to hunt down Repanse the Lyonnaise, but Repanse dropping the halo of Maidenly Wrath once more, blinding her foes nearby, lowering the stats of both the Arcane Phoenix and Eltharion, allowing Green Knight to go for a backstab onto Eltharion. The physical resistance from the Fang Sword will be meaningless against the magic attacks of the Green Knight, especially with the Dolorous Blade buffs. The Arcane Phoenix is returning to save his liege, leaving Eltharion and Repanse in combat, and the magic attack is doing quite a huge number on Green Knight, getting a really cost-effective engagement for the Rainbow Pigeon. But the whole engagement is still not in favor of the High Elves, as regardless of the Spearman's support, Eltharion is pushed off by Repanse the Lyonnaise. The Lady's Maiden, seeing the Green Knight in need of help, charges back into the Arcane Phoenix, using the boost from the charge bonus, single-handedly finishing off the Arcane Phoenix, freeing up the Green Knight from combat. And with that, the Arcane Phoenix die an explosive death, blasting away some of the friendlies. The Louen Seaguard taking significant damage from the death animation of the Arcane Phoenix, while Eltharion hoping to get some advantage in combat by routing all these spears, but unfortunately there is no more ground presence for the High Elves, only some very tattered Louen Seaguard, while Green Knight and Repanse the Lyonnaise are still extremely healthy. Now charging into combat again, they will be routing these Seaguards soon with the terror from the Green Knight. And with that, Eltharion will be attempting one last charge, trying to finish off Repanse with the charge bonus, but unfortunately, he does not have the melee stats to finish the job, and instead being counter-punched by Repanse, and the Peasant Lady will be claiming the victory. Now that we are at the post-battle screen, let's have a quick look at the army performances. No doubt the MVP of the whole game for Bretonnia is Repanse the Lyonnaise. Not only does she getting some nice kills there, but also the damage value over 4,300, effectively killing over a quarter of the enemy's army. Of course, part of the damage value are from the healing of Eltharion. It is a bit inflated, but still, effectively killing at least a quarter of the enemy's army. She has been carrying the Bretonnian army hard in this battle. especially given a significant loss in cavalry in early game. She basically single-handedly emptied the whole health bar on Eltharion, also the Arcane Phoenix, and do some significant damage to the Star Dragon. If not for the healing from Eltharion, the game would have ended long ago. Usually when playing Bretonnia, most players go for the meta picks like King Louen or the Fey Enchantress, but they often overlook the power of Repanse. She is probably the best duelist in the whole Bretonnian roster there, with the combination of the Blinding Explosion, the Halo of Maidenly Wrath, the Sword of Lyonnaise, and of course her Fleur de Lis banner. These melee stat modifiers were able to turn her into a killing machine, a dreaded duelist that can hunt down the most elite of enemy characters. And she is also rather tanky, with 110 armor, decent melee defense. She can survive melee blob grinds. All you need is a healing damsel of life to provide that regrowth to refresh her figure and also top up her HP, and she is basically a Sigvald of the Bretonnian army, with even better damage dealing capacity. And Koops here did a good job with using her, using the explosion to debuff enemy units, and then using the Sword of Lyonnaise to buff up the attack and damage, doing some massive burst damage to enemy key units like Eltharion, Stormwing, and the Arcane Phoenix. Of course, the Green Knight also did a lot of heavy lifting with over 2000 damage value, no doubt did a lot of damage to the Star Dragon and killed off quite a few of these High Elf spears. Honestly, both Repanse and Green Knight are not exactly the meta pick for Bretonnia, but in this game, they did a spectacular job in dueling the High Elf single entities. Now for the infantry department, the peasants really didn't do much against the more elite High Elf spears, but the battle pilgrims were able to cut through some of the spears and get into the Louen Sea God, shut down some of that High Elf missile firepower. Knight Errant got shattered in the very first few seconds of battle, not much to say about them. Similar goes for the Knights of the Realm, and the questing knights here got quickly eaten alive by the Star Dragon, Arcane Phoenix, and Eltharion the Grimm's Stormwing. However, the Companions of Canal, being the elite cavalry as they are, doing 2400 damage, using the fire resistance of 25% to tank out the damage from the Arcane Phoenix, as well as the Star Dragon. They were able to do some nice anti-large armor piercing damage to these tankier single entities, especially surrounding the dragon and also tying down Eltharion the Grim, allowing Repanse to catch up and deliver the righteous fury of the Lady upon these High Elf foes. Now for the High Elf army, the spears were able to fend off quite a few of the peasant army, allowing the Louen Sea Gods to do some massive missile damage onto the Knights of the Bretonnia. Somehow multiple units managed to do over 1000 damage value, especially given their anti-large spears, able to drag down the Knights in heavy armor. The single entities also did a great job in killing a lot of the Knights, especially the Star Dragon and the Arcane Phoenix, doing massive damage, 3217 on the Arcane Phoenix. Granted, it also dropped a few juicy Flamestorm onto the peasant blobs, slaughtering the peasants in a tornado of flames. As for the Star Dragon, not quite exactly recovering its value, but able to hunt down a lot of knights in the early game, however being tied down by the companions and being slaughtered by Repanse de Lyonnaise. It was not able to get back into the combat to get healed up by Eltharion, and that was a huge loss for the High Elf army. And Eltharion the Grim, he is not exactly the greatest damage dealer in the whole army. Stormwing, albeit a majestic beast, does not have the melee stats to penetrate the defenses of the Green Knight and Repanse de Lyonnaise. And in the end, all three single entities were no match against the melee prowess of Repanse de Lyonnaise, all of them losing the single entity duels and yielded under the might of the peasant lady, blessed by the lady herself. And that's basically it for today's battle. Special thanks to Koops for sending in this replay, and also Cool Umbrella for playing against Koops for this wonderful replay. Personally, I find Repanse a really powerful lord that is always underused in the current meta, and I love seeing Repanse in action. Especially in this battle, she is showing what she is capable of, overpowering a squad of mighty single entities from the High Elf roster. For viewers who are still watching, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoy it. If you want to see more, remember to hit the like and subscribe to get notified every time I upload a new video. They will be ranging from battle replays like this one, wild army builds, tips and strategies for Total War Warhammer 2 online multiplayer, and some funny shitpost videos. And if you have any replays you want me to cast, feel free to drop by my Discord or send me an email with the replay file attached. I'll be sure to check them out. So yeah, that's basically it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.